And so begins the lawsuits and litigation of the office of the presidency. Donald Trump has taken two major actions so far, one officially, one to come. The first, the Trump campaign is suing to halt vote counting in Michigan. They say that as long as they're not being given meaningful access to the tabulation process, they do not want these votes counted. They also want to be able to see the votes that were counted when they weren't being given access. Trump is also expected to call for a recount in Wisconsin as the race is extremely close. And until they actually certify the results, he will not be able to, which will draw everything out until December. This is going to get spicy and absolutely ridiculous. But one thing I can say is we've got more information coming out. The polls were absolutely and insanely wrong. And what we are seeing is a total repudiation of the Democratic establishment and the media establishment. Not only have Democrats lost substantially in the House so far, I believe, as the time of recording this video, around 5 seats have flipped to the Republicans. We may be witnessing a Republican in Michigan flipping the Senate. But we are seeing in Maine, Susan Collins says that her opponent has conceded in the face of every single poll. This is absolutely insane. When you look at these numbers, you want to talk about historic polling failure. Wow. My friends, we are in for a very, very long month. But one thing we can say for sure, the media, the pollsters, and the forecasters have lost everything. They have no idea what the American people are thinking. And in my opinion, I think what we are seeing, if Donald Trump does lose, there may be fraud, there may be impropriety. We'll get through this. If Trump loses, I believe it's a repudiation of his character. But if the Senate remains GOP and Republicans gain in the House, it shows you that the American people are not having this insane far leftism. What they want is a moderate, charismatic president. And I've said it all along. If you got somebody who was more well-behaved than Donald Trump with the same policies, landslide victory. But Trump may still win, so don't take that as me saying he's going to lose. And I did vote for the guy. We'll talk all about this. We've got some updates to go through. Let me show you the breaking news first. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There are many ways you can give. Got a P.O. box. You want to send me stuff. But the best thing you can do, share this video. It's the best way to help my channel as I compete with the mainstream media. And if you think I do a good job of bringing you rational and reasonable news, and you think people need to know about what Trump is doing in terms of lawsuits and recounts, sharing this video would greatly help. But don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's read the first breaking story. Trump campaign sues to halt vote counting in Michigan. President Trump's re-election campaign on Wednesday said it was filing a lawsuit to halt the counting of votes in Michigan until it is given access to observe the tabulation process. Campaign manager Bill Stepien alleged that it has not been given meaningful access to observe the opening of ballots at multiple locations. Now, I want to stop here and just say, there's also accusations emerging in Georgia that there's irregularities, accusations in Philadelphia since yesterday that poll watchers were being denied. Quote, "We have filed suit today in the Michigan Court of Claims to halt counting until meaningful access has been granted," Stepien said in a statement. "We also demand to review those ballots which were opened and counted while we did not have meaningful access. President Trump is committed to ensuring that all legal votes are counted in Michigan and everywhere else." I'm going to stop and just say, listen, if you think everyone's vote should count and that we should respect the decisions of the individual, then Democrat or Republican, you should support these actions. Absolutely. The only reason anyone would reject what Trump is saying here is because they just want to win. Now, of course, they're going to claim that Donald Trump wants to block votes that are coming in late because that's him just trying to steal an election and every vote must count. Okay, we have an election day. We do not have an election week. Votes coming in after the race is already over, I believe, is unconstitutional, but far be it for me to decide. This will likely go to SCOTUS. However, if someone voted, it's not for you to decide who they voted for. If Trump says, I want to see who John Smith voted for because you weren't giving us access, and they read it and it says Trump, but they mark it as Biden, then as a Democrat, someone saying people's votes must be counted, you certainly must agree we shouldn't allow people to have their votes disenfranchised. And if Trump is observing, I believe the Biden camp should be observing too. So let's see how things play out. The suit was filed after Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden pulled ahead of Trump in Michigan after largely urban and suburban counties reported mail ballot totals overnight. Trump tweeted misleading or inaccurate claims about ongoing vote counts in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania from Wednesday morning into the early afternoon. The tweets in which Trump sowed doubt about the legitimacy of counting legal votes beyond Election Day were flagged by Twitter as containing misleading information. Quote, "They are working hard to make up 500,000 vote advantage in Pennsylvania disappear ASAP. Likewise, Michigan and others," Trump tweeted. Trump held an early lead in Michigan on election night, but experts had cautioned the race may tilt toward Biden as mail and absentee ballots were counted. State laws prevented Michigan officials from processing those ballots prior to Election Day, delaying the tabulation process. I'm sorry, that makes no sense. The only thing that does make sense is that historical voter turnout resulted in longer counting times or delays. But even then, we should be able to accommodate for this by bringing on more people and hiring more people for the job. It makes no sense that mail and absentee ballots would be counted late. If the ballots would have come in person, they would have counted them, right? So I think we got some dirty games if that's the case. To be completely fair, however, right now, what we're seeing in Pennsylvania, obviously, is that there are votes from before Election Day that have not yet been counted. I believe, and I can check the numbers as of the time of recording, Trump's lead has dropped from 500,000 to 325,000. Now, Trump's camp, my understanding is they believe they'll end up winning by a very, very slim margin. And that may be. And that may be true for Arizona as well, because news is coming out that there was a reporting error in Arizona. This is crazy stuff, where they said 95% plus precincts reporting. It was actually 86. Now we're learning Trump might actually end up swinging Arizona. We don't know for sure. Based on what we're seeing today, the 500,000 vote advantage Trump is talking about, I'm sorry, he is wrong. OK, it is just the day after Election Day. If ballots come in now, well, then we've got a problem. But they're saying that there are votes to be counted from Election Day. Now, they also mentioned that I believe there are several 100,000 ballots that were not returned that may be returned, and they want an extension. That will probably go to the Supreme Court. My opinion there is that is cut off. Look, man, I'm not trying to disenfranchise anybody or argue for that. I'm just saying, if the Democrats want to change the rules and it negatively impacts their voters, the blame is on the Democrats, and we cannot change the rules simply because Democrats wanted to. There has to be a consensus on the rules we play by. Imagine you're watching a baseball game. We see the score, and then they say, wait. It's the bottom of the ninth. But before we can declare the Cubs the World Series champions, we need to stop, take a few days, and review all the footage from the game and make sure there was no impropriety. Because maybe no. Bottom of the ninth, the score is in. That's it. Now, I think there's a little bit of middle ground here. They are still counting ballots today. Why did they stop? I don't know. But many people, even on the left, are saying it's a disgrace that our election system can't accurately count ballots fast enough. Why would mail-in ballots be delayed after Election Day? In my opinion, makes little sense. They could have been counting them on Election Day, same as any other ballot. But sure, my only point is the cutoff period was yesterday. I believe Trump will go to SCOTUS. He will probably win. I don't know for sure. Let's read more. Biden overtook Trump in Michigan on Wednesday morning as Detroit and suburban areas began reporting their totals. The former vice president led by roughly 50,000 votes in the state as of Wednesday afternoon. Trump carried the state by less than 11,000 votes in 2016. The Trump campaign has maintained it still has a path to victory in Michigan, but it also conceded that its best path to 270 electoral votes will come via wins elsewhere. And this is true. The lawsuit in Michigan is likely a preview of a flurry of legal actions to come as Trump's path to re-election narrows. The president's campaign has already requested a recount in Wisconsin, where Trump is trailing by about 20,000 votes, and officials signal they may challenge results in Nevada. Quote, "We are obviously leading a full court press to make sure that we have all of our legal teams that are in place," senior Trump campaign advisor Jason Miller said Wednesday morning. "We want to make sure that all legally cast ballots are counted. We also want to make sure that illegally cast ballots are not counted. The Nevada Supreme Court on Tuesday denied an emergency request from the Trump campaign to impose more restrictive vote counting procedures in Democratic-leading Clark County, one day after a lower court rejected a request by the campaign and state Republicans to allow greater opportunity to observe the vote counting process. So the next major story, Trump campaign will request a recount.
President Trump's campaign
they
said
will
Wednesday
request
it would
a recount in Wisconsin. Forgive the autoplay. The Hill reports, quote, let me read a little bit. President Trump's campaign said Wednesday it would request a recount in the state of Wisconsin, where Democratic nominee Joe Biden has a razor-thin lead, but multiple outlets have projected the former vice president to win. Quote, there have been reports of irregularities in several Wisconsin counties, which raise serious doubts about the validity of the results. The president is well within the threshold to request a recount, and we will immediately do so, Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien said in a statement. Biden was up by little more than 20,000 votes in Wisconsin Wednesday, with nearly all local jurisdictions having completed the unofficial count of the votes. No networks had called the state for Biden at the time of the Trump campaign's announcement. The AP and CNN declared Biden the winner in Wisconsin later Wednesday afternoon. Wisconsin offers 10 electoral votes, which could prove crucial to either candidate. Trump won the state by less than 1 point in 2016, and Biden has pushed to return the state to the blue category this year. There are not automatic recounts in Wisconsin, but a candidate who is within 1% of the winner can request one. Biden's campaign expressed confidence earlier Wednesday that the former vice president would ultimately be declared the winner in the Badger State, as well as Michigan and Pennsylvania by a wider margin than Trump won in those same states in 2016. We are going to win Wisconsin, recount or no recount, Biden campaign manager Jen O'Malley Dillon said in a Zoom call with reporters when asked about a potential recount in Wisconsin. Now, I believe that's true. I believe Joe Biden is on track to win in Michigan and win in Wisconsin. But this does not guarantee him victory, my friends. We are going to draw this out into December because, like I said, they can't have a recount until the results are certified, and the results aren't going to be certified for quite some time. Things are going to get annoying and spicy. But let me show you the results as the AP has them. Right now, Joe Biden is up just around 20,000 or so votes, a little bit more, and the AP has called the race for Joe Biden. However, over at our 272-win electoral map, if we give Wisconsin to Joe Biden and we give Michigan to Joe Biden, Donald Trump winning PA only gets him 266, meaning Joe Biden will win the presidency with 272. And right now, Arizona has been called for Joe Biden, but the Trump campaign says that they're actually tracking to win in Arizona, which may not be the case. It may be. It's not Joe Biden that's saying it. This one may be coming from the Trump camp, but it is true. Earlier, it was reported that the New York Times said due to an Edison research error, when they reported 95%, it was actually 86%. And it's entirely possible that Arizona does, in fact, flip to Trump. And if it does, Trump can lose Wisconsin and Michigan. And if he wins Pennsylvania, Trump will win the presidency with 277 votes. This means it is very likely Trump is going to go nuclear on North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona, and Nevada, anywhere he can for a legal battle that he might be able to win. I don't fault him for it. If Joe Biden also wants to engage in any legal actions, I believe he should as well. My friends, this is an extremely close race as it stands. Personally, I do not believe votes received after Election Day should count. That's not up to me. That'll be for the courts. But my personal gut feeling right now is that Donald Trump has a path to victory, but it is increasingly becoming more and more narrow. However, it's not all bad news. I am not going to be happy with the Joe Biden presidency because we got to live through 8 years of the Obama-Biden presidency, and I saw what that meant for foreign policy and domestic policy. And I think ultimately it was fairly bad in terms of foreign policy. Domestic policy wasn't all that great, but it was kind of, in some areas, I think there were problems. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is the last best defense against the rise of critical race theory and leftist identitarianism and leftist neo-segregationism. So I certainly want Donald Trump to win. But I must admit, what we should be hoping for right now is a GOP Senate at the very least. I think many people have actually said this, many moderates, that although, Trump supporters and conservatives really want to see the Republicans take everything, and I got to be honest, I do too, simply as a statement against the media establishment and the Democratic establishment, a GOP Senate will keep a Biden presidency in check and kind of slow things down, and maybe it may be good for us. It may kind of simmer the stew a little bit. We're boiling over and we want to calm everything down. However, that's just an opinion. And in the end, what we're really going to see is going to be the result of months of litigation. And I got no idea. The one thing I absolutely do not want to happen is Democrats taking everything. It's still within the realm of possibility that Democrats will take the Senate. As of right now, let me refresh the Wall Street Journal's live results. The Democrats have lost 5 House seats, a rejection. The Republicans have lost 1 House seat, but still have 48. And there are still some we cannot call, but it is leaning to the Republicans. So we can see here, Maine has been called for Collins. North Carolina, Alaska, and Michigan and Georgia looks like are all leaning towards the Republicans. And it seems like the Republicans will be maintaining their Senate majority in the governorship. The Republicans have gained 1 and the Democrats have lost 1. All in all, we don't know what's going to happen with the president, but it does seem like we're looking at good news for Republicans, not what they wanted, but better than getting crushed. This was always a possibility. The media being 100% wrong. Now, as it pertains to Michigan, I want to highlight something. Scott Walker tweeted, after a recount in the 2011 race for Wisconsin Supreme Court, there was a swing of 300 votes. After the recount in 2016, the presidential race, Donald Trump's numbers went up by 131. As I said, 20,000 is a high hurdle. Of course, as you know, Scott Walker is the 45th governor of Wisconsin. It seems like a recount will not help Trump in Wisconsin. And that's why I highlight Trump doesn't need Wisconsin, but he does need either Arizona, Michigan, or Nevada. In fact, I think Nevada's not going to matter. If Biden takes Arizona and Trump takes Nevada, okay, so he will, yes, that will give Trump a 272 victory. So there is a path through the courts, which is what many of us suspected would happen. I got to say, though, personally, I am a bit surprised that there wasn't a larger rejection of the media establishment. Take a look at this from Fox News. Susan Collins claims victory in Maine. Senate race, Sarah Gideon concedes. Collins, a perceived moderate, has taken sustained fire over the past few years. But you know what? Good for her. Look, Maine is not red or blue. It's actually split. It's like most states, to be completely honest. Let's take a look at the live election results, and we can see for the president, Maine has, I believe, 1 electoral vote for Donald Trump, and they have 1 so far for Biden. Is that where we're at so far? Or 3 for Biden, I'm sorry. And 1 for Trump. Like most states, there's a blue area and there's a red area. Well, Maine divides up their electoral votes. Susan Collins has tried to be a moderate, not just blindly agreeing with Trump, and I respect her for it. I do. As much as I might disagree with her because I think Democrats are wrong, I respect her trying to be a bridge and trying to still keep the sides, stop the polarization to some extent. Tulsi Gabbard did the same. I don't agree with everything Tulsi Gabbard has proposed in her policy positions, but I can respect her efforts to try and communicate with the right and make sure the divide in this country doesn't become extreme. However, take a look at this from Greg Price on Twitter. Greg Price is, I believe, I'm not sure if he works for anywhere, but he said, literally, not a single poll in the RCP average had Susan Collins winning in Maine. Quinnipiac had Gideon at plus 12. Take a look at these numbers. And this is the most glorious failure of historic proportions. My friends, if there is one thing I can say in all of this that I've said in probably the past, every segment I've done so far, is that the media has failed. Stop listening to them. You don't got to call them the enemy of the people, though there are certainly Democratic operatives and propagandists in establishment media. They don't know what they are talking about. My stars and garters. Emerson had Gideon up 6, Colby 4, Pan Atlantic 7, Bangor Daily News up 1, Quinnipiac 12. That's just absolutely insane. Colby College, PPP, they all said Gideon would win. It wasn't even a close race. And Gideon called to concede. The media has done horrifying things to this country. They have lost the connection to the people. They don't know what they're talking about anymore. And their polls are based on Twitter's perception of reality. They need to fire every single pollster and these forecasters and these contributors and these contractors, whatever, for these networks. Time to go. Time to go. We knew the polls were wrong. You know what? I'm proud to say I believe I got a decent amount of this correct. You know why? It's not hard to be wrong when you don't take harsh stances, right? I didn't know who was going to win the presidency, and no one does yet. But I did know the polls were going to be wrong, and I said it over and over again. I think the polls are wrong. We won't know for sure, but we'll see. And sure enough, the polls weren't just wrong. They were ridiculously wrong. Jeff B. on Twitter, he is a attorney, Eddie Friendly Rhino. He tweeted, let me show you the first tweet. Charles Gould Ba says, as of this writing, it looks like Biden will win the popular vote by millions. The electoral vote by a small to decent margin, and Dems will net 1 to 4 in the Senate and retain control of the House. If these all happen, including 3 in the Senate, what am I missing? Jeff says, what you're missing is that the narrative had this as a complete Democratic blowout. And not only are they set to not gain the Senate as predicted, they're actually losing House seats, which only idiot crazy people might have predicted. That's worth contemplating. I've been talking to some friends about the results, and they're saying Joe Biden needs to win, and they're saying the Democrats need to win. And I said, can you ask yourself, please, why you are on the side of the billionaires, the moguls, the multinational corporations, and the political establishment? Where did the punk rock go? Anna Missaglia tweeted this. Fascinating data visualization of political contributions by occupation and employer in election 2020. Donald Trump's top donors include NYPD, U.S. Marines, ranchers and homeowners, Facebook employees, university professors, and others in academia give more to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the candidate of Wall Street. He is the candidate of Facebook, of Twitter, of Google. He is the candidate of massive multinational billion-dollar corporations. I don't understand why this is happening. I can say, it's probably better to say, I think I get it. I do. Many people on the left who are voting, I believe Joe Biden gained about 5 million votes from where Hillary Clinton was, and Trump also gained about 5 million votes. So a lot of people have become politically active, which is a good thing. But I've noticed that many of the people I know who moved to vote for Biden are low information voters. They don't know anything about the Obamagate scandals. They don't know anything about Voldemort. That's right. He who must not be named, the CIA whistleblower, that if I say his name, this video will be deleted outright. No joke. There are strange things afoot. There are millionaires and billionaires doing everything in their power to make sure Joe Biden wins. And unfortunately, there are many people who claim to be progressive, who claim to be leftists, who are actively supporting the millionaires, the billionaires, and everyone they claim to oppose. I think it's because the media did a good job. I'm just so curious how it is there are people who think Trump is all of these awful things. They don't even know anything about what's going on. You know, I'll just put it this way. Trump is an imperfect avatar of the rage of the American people, those who have been paying attention for too long and wants their jobs back, want the economy to do well, and are tired of having everything extracted from them. Joe Biden's brother, Jim Biden, made millions in Iraqi contracts after Joe Biden got into office and then began overseeing Iraq. His son got a job that paid him $1 million a year on the board of a Ukrainian energy company. The mafia has been paying off the media to tell you all that the guy screaming about it is the bad guy. And many people bought it. Meanwhile, the mob is extracting from our communities. I don't mean any literal mob. The Democratic and Republican establishment, the Lincoln Project types, have been stealing from the coffers, figuratively, for too long. They stopped governing when they realized people will just check R or D. Finally, people rose up and said no, and it was Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. Well, Bernie Sanders sold out, and Trump took over. Through all the political establishment's might, they were able to muster a very strong defense. And it is surprising to me. You know, I don't know how things are going to play out. Trump might actually win, but I think if you're sitting here right now saying that I'm wrong, that Trump is the crooked one, let me tell you, I've talked repeatedly about Trump's private properties, his corporate properties, his use of the military, the military coming and staying at these places, the fact that Trump Hotel is like the old post office building. I've talked about this stuff. Joe Biden's family got rich off of his name. Obama had a meeting with Biden and Yates and Comey, and they talked about prosecuting Michael Flynn. In FBI notes, they said they wanted to get him fired or prosecuted. Which one? We have text messages from former FBI agents saying we have an insurance policy to stop Trump. An ex-FBI lawyer has now been prosecuted for altering evidence to frame Trump or to get false warrants. We have seen what they have done, and they do not deserve to be allowed back into the castle. And that's it. There's not much you can say to me, but I'll tell you this. 4 historic peace agreements. No new wars. The first president to do this in like 40 years. The end of the Sudanese-Israeli conflict. The recognition of Israel by several Arabic nations. Withdrawing our troops from the Middle East. A booming economy pre-COVID. Banning critical race theory, which is neo-segregationist and a violation of civil rights law. And Trump has done enough that I think it warrants second term. There's no clean win for anybody. If Biden wins, it will be viewed as dirty. And if Trump wins, it'll be viewed as dirty. And Twitter is censoring my post that says that. But for the time being, the litigation hath begun. I hope you're ready for a roller coaster of a month or two. We'll see how things play out. The next segment is coming up at 6 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimCastNews. It is a different channel from this one. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.